Oh, my son Ty is going to hang out this afternoon with us. He joins us now. What's going on, buddy?
Not a whole lot.
Do you even know about this ward system in Fargo? Because you're a Fargo resident.
West Fargo.
Oh, are you in West? That's right, you are. You're on the other side of Veterans Boulevard. That's right. If you're on the east side, you'd be Fargo. Okay, so you don't have a dog in that fight either. All right, I won't even bring that up to you then. They're pushing to get a ward system, which means that you represent one part of the city instead of a at-large commissioner.
Okay.
And a lot of people feel that they're not being represented, that everything focuses on downtown. So I got a feeling this ward system could pass here. But again, like you, I don't have a dog in the fight. I'm a Fargo or a West Fargo resident, and we don't even have to have debates for our mayor because only one person runs. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
one person runs.
crazy.
Why do you think that is?
I mean, I have no idea.
Because West Fargo's still small. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I personally don't think so. I guess. I mean, what would you consider to be a small population?
40,000. That's what we're at. See, I think
seems
that's
like
small.
enough to have more than one candidate. Not that the one candidate's not good or whatever, but it's, I don't know. It seems.
It was surprising. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I thought for sure we'd get a handful of people or somebody that's currently sitting on the West Fargo Commission would have thrown their name in the hat to run, but no, we know who our new mayor is. So it's Eric Jurgenovic, who used to be on the commission. Actually, did one term.
So for me, local politics is something I'm just getting recently paying more and more attention to. You know what I mean? So
you should. You own businesses.
Well, yeah, and that's obviously the things associated with local politics, they don't really seem to be that important to you until you start getting older and older. You know what I mean? Where all that the local jurisdictions and whatever local laws that are coming out and stuff, you start paying more attention to it. But what percent of the population do you think actually knows anything about local politics? You know what I mean? So of
very
that
little, I think.
Yeah. So I mean, that's kind of the bigger thing is.
Well, and you look at the turnout. I think the last turnout, I want to say it was like 2 in 10 showed up to. I mean, it was like. Was it like 20,000? That's for Fargo out of a city of 50,000 people. The turnout was just dismal.
Yep.
I just think people have given. I mean, you hate to say that because your vote does count, but I think people are just so fed up with politics, even on a local level. They're like, it doesn't matter. It's just never going to change, and they're like, I don't get time for this.
Yeah. I think it just in general takes a lot longer for people to get introduced into local politics too. Again, because you don't, it's not like you talk about it in high school or
Yeah, I'll tell you what I am following. I don't know if you're following this or not. And for us, it doesn't matter. But man, it is fun to watch. Are you watching Spencer Pratt running for mayor in L.A.?
I'm not watching.
That is crazy. His videos are. I mean, he is just destroying the current mayor. What's her name? Karen Bass. He calls her Basura or something. That must be her real full last name.
Well, there's a third one in that race too, right? And
she's a current council member.
Yeah.
And if you're not following this, and again, it's Los Angeles, so you'd be like, Jay, why would we follow this? We live up here because it's fun to watch. So the background on Spencer Pratt, I used to watch him on the Hills on MTV. Mm-hmm. It was a reality show. Him and his wife, and it was just a typical, a bunch of young 20-somethings just raising hell and drinking, fighting, whatever, drama. It's basically like a soap opera. And he was always considered like the bully and an instigator and a troublemaker. But he and his family lived in Palisades.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And he has no political experience at all. He lost, like many, he lost his home. Now he's living in an Airstream trailer on his property. Mm-hmm. And he, with no political experience, he's already done a debate. I was watching clips of the debate. I mean, he is destroying these people that are like career politicians. Mm-hmm. He's just killing it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, everything that he's talking about seems to be common sense-based stuff, you know what I mean, which is going to translate a lot more to just the normal person. I guess I can't speak for Californians, but
well, I could tell you, you're right. He's coming at it with common sense, and everything that he's saying, he's dead on the money. He's not like exaggerating, or he's got his facts in these ads that he's putting out or these videos that he's making and putting up on social media are just, even if you're not into politics, you have no ties to California, you watch these things and you get sucked in because he's of course he had experience on television, so he's good in front of a camera. But man, he is just killing it, and he's getting millions of views, man. I mean, I think that dude's got a good chance to be the next mayor of California. I really do, because he's done his homework.
Yeah.
Holy smokes, man. Let's see, another email. Jay, look what they almost did to 32nd Avenue because none of the commissioners were familiar enough with the area. So I'm guessing this person's for the ward system. Yeah, they wanted to make 32nd Avenue more walkable. They're going to rip that all up, make it walkable like downtown. It's like, did you go down there and take a look at 32nd Avenue? How are you going to make that walkable when all the businesses are set back and all the parking lots are up front? Mm-hmm. That makes no damn sense. And that really ticked people off.
Well, of the last 10 years, how many times has 32nd Avenue been ripped up east of 29? I mean, it seems like every year it's under construction, too.
All right, 701-293-9000, email studio at wdayradionow.com. All right, are you following this hantavirus thing?
Yep.
Okay, so I went down that rabbit hole too. And folks, you can jump in anytime, 701-293-9000. So now the conspiracy theorists are running rampant out there, saying that this was a setup. There's a bunch of videos out there now that they keep saying the actor, and they're talking about a guy that was a guy. I don't know if he like runs this cruise ship or if he's like the tour guide for it or something. But his wife is tied to Big Pharma, and so now they're talking about how this was all set up. And I was watching one where the guy says, "Well, I mean, isn't this rich? You're on a cruise ship. You just set off a little hantavirus, or whatever the hell you call it." And what happens? Ship comes in, people scatter around the world to their different countries, and boom, away you go.
Yeah.
I'm just not buying this, dude.
Yeah, I haven't heard a ton on it. I mean, I was listening to the stories on it from like last Friday when people were talking about it and discussing it. I kind of caught wind of pretty much everything you just explained, but it seems like, whether it's something serious or legit, I guess, I mean, that's all open to interpretation, but just that, like, it just seems like the perfect setting for something like this to happen. You know what I mean? You're pulling residents from literally all different parts of the world. You know what I mean? They're spreading out through some of the busiest cities in the country, and it's...
Well, so we found out last week that the couple that contracted it were bird watching in a garbage dump infested with rats and other rodents. Because before they said that, I think I'm like everybody else, Ty. I thought,
sounds
what
familiar.
is this? Is this ship? How do you have a cruise ship that's infested with rodents and rats? That's what I assumed. I think a lot of people did tell that story came out that, well, no, they were bird watching in a garbage dump.
Yeah, it sounds like a bat in a market in. Yeah,
the coronavirus. Yeah, it was a bat. So do you don't think this thing was on purpose?
I have no idea. I don't know. No, I haven't heard enough or done enough research on it. I've just kind of caught wind of, the gist of it and what's going on. So I don't know. It sounds oddly familiar though, and now I think as much as I hate saying this, virus is a big trigger word for people now. So everyone starts speculating in all different directions anytime it comes up. So.
Well, this virus has been around for decades. It's not like it's something new, like the strain of coronavirus or whatever the hell they called it. But I don't think there's anything nefarious behind this. I just think these people caught it and got, you're in an enclosed, ship, and the stuff spreads pretty easy, and people got sick. And I was watching videos like, get ready for the lockdowns. Here they come. Here comes the remask. I don't think we're not going to see any of that. There's no way. After what we went through with COVID, and COVID with how they handled COVID, that COVID thing destroyed so many lives. I mean, people lost their jobs. They lost friendships. Yes, people died from it. The government had no clue. They forced vaccines on people. People lost their jobs. It messed up people mentally. I mean, you had people locked in. Then you had neighbors ratting out neighbors if they had friends over. There's no way we can go through that thing again. There's just no way. And I don't think the country would stand for it.
No, I mean, the silver lining of all of that is now anytime we have a situation like this, it's always going to face heavy scrutiny.
Exactly.
From, specifically from the public. So I don't think things are going to go the same way, but then the downside of that is if it is something serious and everybody is speculative about it, now you start to have other issues as well. But.
Hang on, callers. We'll get to you in a second. 701-2939,000. Email studio at WDAYradionow.com. The voice here is my son Ty's. Hang out. Ronnie's on honor flight, or doing the honor flight down in Washington. So kudos to him and Janae for what they're doing. These honor flights are fantastic. I believe tomorrow it's at 5 o'clock at the Fargo Dome, I believe, is when they're asking everybody to get there to welcome our soldiers home. And a lot of them, if not all of them, I think are Vietnam on this one. And we remember what Vietnam veterans, our soldiers had to deal with when they came back from Vietnam. It was not nice. So they want a nice welcome home for them so they can have that. Mike, you're up. Jay Thomas Show.
Hey, Jay.
Hey.
Farmers have to deal with mice and rats all the time on the farms. Mm-hmm. And they get in the trucks and tractors, and farmers have been fighting mice forever. And, they get into everything.
Yeah.
You grab them, throw, the nests and stuff out, you're breathing that stuff in. You don't hear of anybody that has a problem with that. And if it was so really bad, geez, everybody around New York or Chicago where they have the rats and mice run rampant on the streets, you'd think there'd be a lot of problems there, and you never hear of it.
That's a good point. I should get a hold of Mariah Prusha, because she was talking about this, I believe, this morning on the morning show. This because she was talking about. She said she remembers, and I didn't grow up on a farm, but she says remembers that you're always told always wash your hands so you don't catch anything.
Oh, yeah.
But
we used to do it with. We grab it with our gloves, and throw them out. And when we were done, we'd brush them off, and then we go, maybe we should throw these gloves away.
Yeah.
Grab another pair of gloves. I mean, and then you have to sweep the cab of the tractor or truck out, and
well,
it's always a mess.
You're in a garbage, and that's the way I understand it. They were in a garbage dump, and they were bird watching or filming birds. So, I mean, it would have to be highly infested with rat crap and everything else. I mean, how?
Oh, it would have to be on their clothes, on their shoes, unless they fell down in the garbage. But first of all, why would you be in a stupid garbage dump taking pictures of birds?
It must have been something, but maybe it was a pterodactyl, something they've never seen. But I'm saying, oh my God, we got to go to that garbage, because that's what I said before too. It's like, why? There's no bird on the planet, even if pterodactyls showed up, that I would go stand in a garbage dump to watch the bird. The only birds I thought were garbage dumps were seagulls.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
But you're right, though. I mean, if they're walking around and there's rat crap on their shoes or whatever, they touch it, they bring that on the ship, and you're in closed quarters. I mean, I could see it happen. I just don't think that this was some like you're seeing with all these conspiracy theorists now saying that this thing was set up, it was purposely done to spread the virus. That I don't buy into.
It's your social media.
Exactly.
Somebody has to be the first one to break a story or whatever,
Yep, exactly. And then everybody jumps on. It's like, I'm going to do videos too. Look how many videos that thing, how many views I got. I'm going to do the same thing. Then you got all this crap floating around out there, no pun intended. Mike, appreciate it. Kevin, Jay Thomas Show.
Yeah, in the early 90s, I was living in northern Idaho, and the place I rented, people that came in to clean the house and so forth, they didn't clean that little trap underneath the fridge.
Yeah.
And it was full of dead little mice and crap and stuff in there. And I don't know, within 30 days, my chest was hurting, having a hard time breathing, couldn't eat. And, I went in and deer mice droppings or whatever. And they gave me antibiotics. It took a little while.
So
we came around.
So you had it, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. So what were the symptoms? And that was just from a bunch of old dead mice and crap under the fridge they forgot to clean?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
you know, when the fridge turns on and you got that fan back there.
Yep.
That's what was making it airborne. And I had no idea. I thought I was, you know, coming down with the flu or something. I didn't know. And I was like, I don't feel so right. And then before you know it, it was hard to breathe. And I was like, oh, God, man. Then it's like my throat and I couldn't swallow. And yeah. And then I lost, I don't know, probably about 25 pounds or more.
Holy
I couldn't eat.
cow.
But yeah, it's, I'm going to say everything that I've heard and what I went through. That was it. It wasn't pleasant, but luckily I was young enough and I did a rebound. So.
Yeah. Wow. Holy smokes. Kevin, appreciate you sharing your story. 701-293-9000. Email studio@WDAYradionow.com. What?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Well, that's when we had mice in the house. I had to deal with last late fall, early winter. We never had mice before, and there's for some reason this past year there's been a terrible mouse problem. And I tried getting rid of them things, and it was the same thing, man. I'm like, I don't, you know, because I didn't know it's hantavirus or whatever they call it, but I know that having mouse droppings they can get you sick. And man, we went through that house, and I finally had to call Midwest Pest Control. They came in, problem solved, but we had to throw out so much stuff. It was unbelievable. I mean, oh man, damn, dude.
Yeah, I dealt with it in one of my houses too. And
you did?
Oh yeah, my
mice
Moorhead house. Yeah.
What happened?
Well, the downside of a twin home is you have a neighbor.
Yeah.
And if that neighbor doesn't take good care of their place, or they happen to be like a hoarder, you know, you're going to get mice in there, and inherently they're going to end up on your side. I
Sure.
mean, it's a twin home. So,
well, exactly.
And those mice, you know, they're persistent, so ended up with them everywhere.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, so what did you do then? Did you have to call in a pest company too?
We had to. Yeah, we tried trapping them ourselves.
Oh, I know it, dude. I tried it too. It's like I'd trap some, and then there were more. And
oh yeah.
It's like holy cow. Then I found a couple spots. Okay, this must be how they're getting in the house, and then it's like, damn, there's more mouse crap. Oh yeah. Then I just like I gotta call Midwest. I can't do this. But yeah, they came and took care of it because you can get really sick from that, man. Yeah. So how many mice you think they had over there?
Oh, based on how many we had, it was they had to have a ton. I mean, we trapped ourselves probably 10 of them.
Good.
And then
Lord.
they came and got plenty more.
My son Ty's hanging out. If you want to weigh in on this hantavirus, your thoughts on it, or if you got sick, like the one caller called and said he ended up having it. I guess this farmer Brock, he was a young guy, passed away back in May of 2014, and it goes on to talk about what happened. He was where is it here? He was clear afternoon. Yeah, their farm was outside of Castleton, North Dakota. Brock was repairing ground with his John Deere 8530. He's accompanied in the cab by his Jack Russell Terrier. During a pass, he opened the cab and let the dog run free. Story goes on, it hit a scent, dug out a mouse, and appeared to make a kill. Replayed 100 times, Brock would have continued working. Not this day. He stopped the tractor, walked over freshly tilled dirt to play with the terrier, and picked up what he assumed was a harmless rodent. The mouse, merely injured, bit Brock's finger. Concerned only by the inconvenience, he took little notice and walked back to the tractor, continued to do his tillage runs, unaware of a fatal pathogen that was charging into his bloodstream. Holy smokes, man. Ready to breed infection towards his lungs. Hantavirus spread by rodents via dropping, saliva, urine. Hantavirus syndrome carries a mortality rate of 36%. A pinprick bite, it says, from the mouse set the clock running on his life. He died in 10 days.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Wow.
I'm curious about like the contagiousness of it, though. You know what I mean? Because that seems to be the big scare. I mean, aside from the 30% death rate, but how contagious is it? And I guess was it from person to person? Though?
Yeah.
Because does it? Was any of his family?
No, it doesn't.
And as with the caller or Kevin when he called in, something we didn't.
Yeah, well, they're saying on this one though, I believe because this ship or whatever, that one they're saying is contagious. It's contagious person to person. That's why now they've got how many is it? 16 being monitored at in Nebraska, whatever hospital is there, and two were sent to Atlanta. And I was reading up on that today too, and it's they say it's kind of like with their 45 days or something like that, but it's not like you're in a tiny hospital room hooked up with equipment. You're just basically in a hotel style like room, and there's TV and exercise equipment, stuff like that, but they're just monitoring. But man, this stuff is crazy. So I guess the story here, man, if you got mice in your house, man, you don't mess with this stuff. This is crazy. Wow. Thanks for sending that article. Appreciate that. Let's see, another email. Jay, if people go on a cruise to go to a garbage dump and look at birds, I have an idea. Fargo is broke. Maybe this is a new source of income for Fargo. We can get our city commissioners who ran Fargo into the red tour guides of our landfills and charge people to look at our birds at landfills. Why would you go to a landfill to watch birds?
I'm sure there's more details.
There's gotta be
what was actually going on, I guess. But yeah, I'm not taking a cruise to go hang out at the dump.
No, exactly. Emailer sent me this. Dr. Pierre Corey exposes a massive media anomaly. He reveals over 100,000 articles were published globally about the hantavirus in just days. He confirms this massive coordination is entirely unnatural. Why is a minor outbreak suddenly consuming the global media cycle, he asks. He confirms this, goes on. Well, it's just like everything else. The media is going to pick up and run. Mm-hmm. They're going to run with whatever the hot thing is of the day. And, anytime you got a cruise ship full of people and they start getting sick, the media runs with it. This isn't the first time this has happened. And the media can play this out, spin it a million ways to, scare people or get clicks or views or whatever they're going for. Let's see, another email. Jay, with the zooming ability of camera lenses, you could be 100 yards away and still get the photo of the bird. So that must have been a garbage dump the size of Washington, D.C. Give you a rim shot on that one. Jay, I think all the hype there's another email. I think all the hype for this story and leads the top of the hour news cycle nationwide is for the sake of the 50% of gullible people okay with taking the next jab. Big Pharma will make billions again. Another email. Jay, this is all lib hype so they could try the same trick they used in 2020 to cheat in the election. Remember, it all started in May 2020 with the coronavirus and went completely insane by election time. I like you said, Ty, I don't see this thing being like coronavirus. I just don't, because we're all onto it.
Yeah, anything that comes up like this now is going to be scrutinized like crazy. I mean, it was the same thing with monkeypox, right? When that was a thing.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. 701-293-9000, email studio, WDAYradionow.com. 4 o'clock, we'll look for caller number 9 in the 4 o'clock hour for Jay's phrase that pays. It was a long one today. Again, we'll do that in the 4 o'clock hour. Okay, I have a question for you here. I don't know how much you can talk about this because you own real estate. Let me find the story. Where the hell is it? Hang on here. Where did I put it? Did I bring it in here? Oh, no. I might not have brought it in. Hold on here. Where the heck is it? Okay. What did I do with it? I cannot. I must not. Did I bring this story in here? Well, the story is, so over in Moorhead, Delray Williams was a mayor over there for one term. She was the first female mayor ever elected in Moorhead. And she now is looks like she's going to run for a commission seat in Moorhead. But what caught my eye on the story was she says that she did not get, I don't have it. She says she did not get everything accomplished she wanted to get accomplished. And she wasn't a bad mayor. But, hang on, callers. She says one of the things she did not accomplish is affordable housing. And this is what we hear all the time. We don't have enough affordable housing in the metro area, whether it's Moorhead, Fargo, whatever. And, we want to get homeless people off the streets. We got to find them places to live. And I've said all along, I don't understand, number one, when you say affordable housing, what do you mean by affordable housing for one? And number two, who's going to pay for this affordable housing? And if I'm a landlord, I mean, I believe in people having second chances and all that. But if I'm a landlord, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Ty, because you own rental properties. If I'm a landlord, I'm not taking a chance on somebody's got a rap sheet a mile long. Mm-hmm. I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely not going to do it if there's other demand out there. You know what I mean? Like if you're getting applicants who are just plain and simple higher qualified. You know what I mean? They might not have a criminal background. They might just have higher income because you're taking pay stubs to see what their income is like to make sure they can afford the property.
Sure.
You're doing background checks. You know what I mean? So why? It's as with anything. It's as with a job. You know what I mean? You're going to take the best applicant as you can because it's going to yield the best results in a perfect scenario,
Well, and the thing too is when you have rental properties, those rental properties aren't there for handouts. They're an investment into, your future or whoever owns them. You're buying that property for an investment or for income. And if you have people going in there and trashing these places, that comes out of your pocket. You're not going to get that money back.
No, I'm sure maybe there's programs out there that are supposed to help in that scenario. I don't know anything about them or if that's true or not. But, the other thing to keep in mind too is from that standpoint, it's like if it's not that everybody that would be on housing assistance is a person who would trash your property.
Exactly,
it's just in general, if you're not the one paying for it, you're not going to care for it nearly as much as if it were your own home or if you were paying just a normal rent. You know what I mean? So you just you have a lot less care for the property, so it's a lot higher likelihood that things are going to get damaged or destroyed or neglected or whatever, and then it's going to cost the actual owner significantly higher amounts of money, higher risk.
Yeah. Well, that and if you ask for a deposit, there's a good chance if the place gets trashed, that deposit ain't going to cover.
Not even close.
Not even close. What do you charge for deposits on your place?
It's typically 1 month's rent.
Oh, it's full month rent.
Yeah.
But somebody could burn through that so fast. Because I remember when I was in property management years ago, some of these apartments we'd go into, it's like, holy smokes, man, the place is just absolutely trashed. And I always got a kick out of people complaining that they did not get, I cleaned this place, I did this, I did that, and they held my deposit. They'll do anything not to give you your deposit back. I've heard that so many times. And you would go into these apartments and you do the walkthrough and it's like you're getting charged for that door. Well, why? There's just a small hole in it. Doesn't matter. There wasn't a hole in that door. We're gonna have to replace that door. And if you think that door is about $10, $15, you're sadly mistaken.
Yep.
We're replacing that. Well, the blinds. Now the blinds are broke. I'm sorry, man, but they weren't broke when you moved in. It's expensive, man, to flip these places or to do a turn on them.
Yeah, it adds up quick for sure. I mean, it's not just cost of material either. Nobody thinks about the labor, right? I mean, you're not, you put small little holes in all over the walls. You have to fill them. You got to paint.
That's right.
You're constantly replacing doors. Blinds are a huge one. They're constantly getting bent and destroyed, and people don't realize how much blinds cost either.
They're not cheap. I mean, when I did it years ago, we just put the cheap plastic ones in, and those things were not cheap. They were pretty expensive. And you're right, the labor to go in there and that fix all the pinholes, paint the walls. I just and I don't understand what is affordable housing. I mean, what is I'm curious what.
I was going to ask the same exact question. It's very important too because you have nothing to. What is not just her but anybody trying to accommodate more affordable housing? Like, what is the actual target? What are you actually trying to accomplish? You know what I mean? Is it a matter of starting a specific program, or is it a matter of supplying 1,000 units that rent for less than $700 a month within city limits?
But who's going to pay for that?
That's the problem.
How are you going to, let's just say you're going to build a big apartment complex of 100 apartments, and they're all going to be affordable. Now, like you said, there's probably government programs, but this isn't going to pay for itself. Who's going to say, okay, I'm going to put all my money in the line, I'm going to build this, and if it gets tracked, there's no answer to what affordable housing is.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's a pretty deep rabbit hole, and I don't know who comes out winning with it either. Aside.
Well, you put all these committees together, and hey, look, we're going to put a blue ribbon committee together. We're going to figure this out. No, you're not going to figure it out. You don't. You're just. It's going to be somebody's money. Somebody's going to have to step forward and do it. I just don't see somebody stepping forward and say, okay, I'm going to build this apartment complex and make it all affordable housing.
Yeah.
And again, what is the benchmark for affordable housing?
Yeah.
Email regarding Fargo's ward system. Fargo's ward system is likely going to pass because the arguments against it are weak. Yes, adding 2 seats may increase costs, but stronger neighborhood representation could save money long term by slowing down unnecessary unwanted capital projects. The Grand Forks flood comparison also makes little sense. In 1997, the response was largely consensus-driven, with resources focused on the most at-risk, low-lying wards. The damage still happened anyway. Blaming that on ward representation is puzzling at best. I don't remember that argument, but I mean, if I was in Fargo, I'm honest, we go back to the ward system. If I was in Fargo and this ward system was on the ballot, I actually think I would vote for it, because then I'm not saying that you can't now go to the commissioners. Moorhead's been doing it for years. They got 2 representatives per ward. I think they got 4 wards over there. So they got 8 people sitting on the council. A gentleman called earlier from Fergus Falls, said they've got a ward system there, which I find baffling because Fergus Falls is pretty small, but they're on a ward system. But it's nice because I believe, too, under the ward system, that you have to live in that ward. You can't represent a ward and not live in it. So when I look at it that way, it's nice to know that, okay, hey, look, this is going on in my neighborhood, whether it's streets or it's crime or whatever. I've got somebody that sits on that commission or that council that lives in my ward that I can go to. So I don't have a problem with the ward system. There's the argument that you're going to have, commissioners not focus. They should be focusing on everything going on in the city, but they're going to focus strictly on their ward. They're going to push to get something done in their ward, which I have no problem with. I like I said, I would vote for it if I lived in Fargo. Unless somebody can convince me otherwise, I would vote for the ward system.
What is the alternative argument? I mean, why would you not? What are people saying about that?
Well, the only other argument, like I said, is that there's a couple arguments. One is that the commission that is that you currently have in Fargo, the setup they have right now, you're at large. That the commissioners already they look out for the city. Okay, the hang on callers. They look out for everything. The argument is that, like I just said, the concern is, okay, now we're in a ward system, so now I don't have all the commissioners looking at an issue. I've got my commissioner. My commissioner's got to go in there and fight. The other commissioners may not think this is important because they don't represent that ward. That's like the 2 main arguments I've heard about it. Terry J. Thomas Show.
Hey guys,
you got 1 minute.
I just wanted to make a comment about affordable housing, and I'm gonna give you kind of an example. A friend of my ex-wife, she's about 60 and on disability, lives in a really nice apartment building, kind of by Home Depot, 2-bedroom. Her disability is $900, and she pays about $150 for rent. Okay.
So, Terry, hold on. Terry, I'm going to put you on hold. Can you hang on so I can get the rest of your conversation on the other side? We're just bouncing all over the place, man. We got into this affordable housing. I'm still getting emails on the hantavirus, too, and we'll get to those. All right, let me grab Terry. Terry, let's finish up our conversation. Thanks for hanging on, brother.
Yeah. Okay, so now my ex-wife is looking for, affordable housing. Mm-hmm. And I guess there's a number of buildings, newer buildings, underground parking and the whole works. Well, she contacted the city and didn't get anywhere with them, so she actually had to go through Cass County. And the waiting list is 2 years.
I've heard that. I've heard that it's years.
So I think that's probably where this all stems from as far as affordable housing, is that there's not enough of the buildings, to where people don't have to wait 2-3 years. Now, she lives with me in the house. But I'd really like to get her out of there. So, 2 years, that's a bit of a haul.
It is. Yeah, that's a long haul for you, pal. So here's the thing, though. You have this long waiting list. You've got this massive amount of people wanting or needing affordable housing. But you've got to have somebody that's going to, hey, I'll build some more. Who's going to build these things? That's the problem.
Yeah,
and I believe it's federal subsidies, isn't it?
Yes, I think it's Section 8. Now, when I worked up north of the big apartment complex, and that owner, they did, it was a percentage of all 3, and then it was 4 buildings, all had a percentage of all different size apartments are all Section 8. And he absolutely loved it. I don't know if it was the tax breaks or what, but he really, really liked the program. So obviously the builders now aren't seeing enough return, maybe. Why they're not doing it, I'm not sure.
Well, I think what it is, because you remember it was about a year ago, there was a big complex here in town, and the owner backed out of the housing. He said, I'm not doing this anymore. He said, because as the cost of everything goes up, the money that he's getting from the government for those subsidies, they're not raising that money. And he was basically saying, look, people move out. I'm losing money every single time somebody moves out of here because the place is either it's trashed and I can't afford to do this anymore. So he pulled out of the program. So it's just they're not up in the money anymore. So
I understand that.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't if I built a big apartment complex. I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to go down that road. And number two, what I really can't believe is how many damn apartment complexes we have in this metro area, and the vacancy rate is low. Man, it's crazy.
And banks and car washes.
Well, I talked to somebody that owns one of these car washes, because every time you see these car washes, all you think of is the show Ozark. Like, what is this, money laundering? But I talked to somebody whose friend or family member, I can't remember, owns one of these and they said it is a massive money maker because up here, everybody has to wash their cars if they don't want them to rot out. He said they are making money hand over fist with their car wash.
Fantastic.
Things drop out of sky like snow. Thanks, Terry. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I think one of the the big upsides as an owner or a landlord is that you're essentially getting guaranteed rent
Exactly.
as long as you have the units available. But then the problem is inherently the caliber of those tenants. They're not going to take as good care of it, and then you have to.
And that's nothing against those folks, but I mean that's reality.
Yeah, and and then the other side of that is when the time comes to like turn over tenants or to rent again. In order to qualify for those subsidies from the federal government, your apartment has to be up to a certain standard. So you have to fix it.
Yeah, you
know
can't
what I
just
mean?
let
so
it
it's
go.
It's like you're taking a gamble. So then I would think it makes the most sense for older properties to go down that route as opposed to new ones too. You know what I mean?
But even
that's
if it's an
kind of
older property, I'm quite sure they're going to go through and say, okay, it's older property. You need to do this to get this federal money.
I guess what I'm saying is you're probably more or less, it's a lot less likely that you're going to end up with brand new buildings that end up being, but who knows?
Hey, Steve, J. Thomas Show.
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, Steve Baca, former mayor of Bismarck. Well, this must be right up your alley, current Burleigh County Commissioner. What's your take, Commissioner and former mayor, on this affordable housing? We hear this all the time. Hey, because right now Delray Williams is running for city commission in Moorhead. She was the mayor, and she said, I'm coming back because there's stuff I didn't finish that I really want to complete, and one of them was affordable housing. And I always look at that and go, okay, what is affordable housing? What do you expect to accomplish?
There's no magic bullet and solution for affordable housing. There just is not. And the problem is you wind up with a bunch of people that don't have an understanding of the math equation, because affordable housing, and I'll even throw homelessness in there as well, that it's a talking point for politicians and people that want to, hey, I'm jerking the chain, I'm making a difference. Well, you're not, because it's a math function. It's equity over time. And how you build that equity, that includes apartment living, that includes trailers, manufactured housing, twin homes, first-time home buyer. However you get into the game with the equity side of it, that's what matters. And then it's just a function of doing it long enough over time to build the equity to step up into your first stick-built home, which might be 20 years down the road. It's just a math function. Politicians like to talk about, affordable housing. I'm going to solve affordable housing. There's no magic bullet for it, Jay. There's none. And when you start talking about the Section 8 and all the programs that are out there on the federal side of it, great, but the margins aren't there for the builders on regular homes for affordable housing, let alone what would be classified as Section 8 housing. You're going to spend that kind of money, and you want top-end, high-end tenants that are going to be able to shell out the cash. Because the way it is in Bismarck, when I got in as mayor, you couldn't go to a builder and go, hey, I want to build a new house. Great, you got $425,000? That number's up to $6 now.
Oh, it's funny because Alex and I were
a builder won't talk to you unless you've got 6 bills in the bank.
Yeah, that's why I don't understand. Like, again, the affordable. Who do they think? You can put all the commissions you want together, blue ribbon committees, all that. But again, it comes to the whole. At the end of the day, who's going to put their nuts on the line, put that money out there for this stuff?
Yeah, but what people understand is there's no solution for affordable housing other than teaching the math equation. It's equity over time. Mm-hmm. Help people build equity so that they can put in the time to get to where they want or need to be. You're not just going to go, hey, let's throw money at it, because the government likes to throw money at it, just like homelessness. They like to throw money at it. But that's not the solution.
No, you nailed it. You're dead on the money. While I got you on real quick for our listeners listening on the flag out there, what's going on in Burleigh County? Anything big going on?
Just living the high life.
That's
Jay.
it. That's
living
it.
The high life.
Attaboy.
We're still working on the OHV stuff. Working on a solution for that.
For the what?
To mitigate the damage to our OHV. Yeah, we talked about that a couple weeks ago.
No.
Trying to work through that process with the state's attorney and what we can do and how to mitigate damage to ditches and landowners that are not enjoying those amenities running around their ditches. So, with the fire danger that we've got right now, because I'm assuming it's as windy in Fargo as it is in Bismarck right now, serious concerns.
Yeah, it's this spring is bad. I mean, of course, we live in a windy area, but boy, this spring it just seems to be so excessive, the wind, and it sounds like we're going to get this all summer long. That ain't good.
It never stops.
I know. It's not good, and if we stay dry, I mean, there isn't a whole lot of moisture in the forecast for days out, a couple spits here and there, but you guys are really dry out there, huh?
We're not bad in Burleigh County right now, but another week of the wind and low humidity, and we will be.
Yeah, I'm going to be out your way. I'm going to look you up. I'm going to be in Bismarck I'm in Dickinson Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday filming, and then filming Thursday in Bismarck. I should give you a buzz.
Hit me up, brother.
Well, we're staying the night there. So, all right, brother. Perfect. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it. Thanks for the insight, man. 701-293-9000. Email studio WDAYradionow.com. Email Jay, be careful on your rides journeys as the virus can be spread by dust in old barn find cars. I get leery when I go in them barns. Not so much for that. Spiders.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I want nothing to do with spiders. Nothing. No, thank you. So the former Mayor Bakken, he brings up equity, and he's dead on the money. You just got it's equity over time. That's what you did. How did you get your first place?
Yeah,
because your first was that duplex, right?
It was a duplex in West Fargo. Yeah. So at the time, I used a VA loan, which is for military, but it's somewhat comparable to like a first-time home buyer loan or an owner-occupied loan. There's a lot of different programs out there, but it really is just a matter of saving up enough money for whatever down payment is required of whatever particular loan you're going for. But I mean, that's it. But before I did that, I started learning about personal finance, and the very first thing I did was pay off all my debt.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's like I paid off all my debts so that I knew I would be able to afford the monthly payments even after that. Because with the VA loan, the downside of them not requiring a down payment is your mortgage ends up being higher.
Well, sure,
you know what
yeah.
I mean? But you also don't pay mortgage insurance or whatever, so that kind of saves you there. But you still have to be able to afford the home, and that's a separate issue of, wherever banks are approving people for things that maybe they actually can't afford. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you end up in a tough situation. But that was pretty much it. I mean, I think I got my first house for, I think it cost me $4,500.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, and that was a VA loan. You pay a 2% funding fee, I think, and it was that house was $165,000 or that duplex at the time. You know what I mean? So you just pay the funding fee, some closing costs, and that's it. And then you move into the house, and
then you just built up equity on that to get your next one, right?
Yeah, I lived there. So when I first got in, I kind of, you get thrown to the wolves a little bit, but I had listened to an abnormal amount of hours of podcasts and read a significant amount of books about pretty much every aspect of real estate. So, I mean, it's not just the loans, it's the property management, it's
what if something breaks down? Can I afford this, to fix this or fix that?
Well, the very first thing I had to do was move one of the tenants out because I have to live there.
Yeah.
So with a VA loan or a first-time home buyer loan or owner occupied, you have to live in that residence. Okay. So it's a duplex. Both units were rented out. I had to approach one of the units and let them know, hey, I have to move in. You have to go.
How was that? How long had they been living there for?
So those folks had only been there for like 2 years. Again, one of the things that I learned is if you just go and offer them cash, don't make a big deal about it, they're probably going to take it and go, and that's exactly what happened.
That's what you did?
Yep, yeah. I knocked on the door. I introduced myself. I told them what was going on, and I said, hey, look, I know this is less than ideal, but if you guys are interested in finding a new place, I'd be willing to just give you guys $1,000. And they said, yeah, we'll do that.
Nice. Look at you.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that was it.
How much notice did you give them?
I think it took them 30 days or so, somewhere in that ballpark to kind of gather their things and head out. But then, yeah, I mean, from there, I lived in one of the units. I slept on the couch and rented the 2 bedrooms to my buddies.
Yeah.
So I was paying nothing. So I saved up a bunch of money very quickly again. And then that following year is when I bought another house, a twin home in this case.
Yeah.
And I did the same exact thing. So there's a lot of nuances with the VA loan as well that this ties back to what he was just explaining, like just learning equity over time. You know what I mean? Like you don't get taught any of this stuff, right? So even in the military with the VA loan, they don't tell you can own multiple properties with that loan. It's a set dollar amount. You know what I mean? So I took out another VA loan on a $155,000 twin home, paid $5,500 to get into that one.
Jeez, dude.
Yeah.
So would you have been able to do this without the VA loans?
100%. Yeah, because the only difference is you would just do a conventional home loan, which in most cases, I mean, different banks. This is why it's a good thing to have a lot of banks. We don't care about multiple banks opening. Car washes, a little bit different story. But you like to have a lot of banks opening up because it gives you a ton of different options. But if you do just a regular conventional loan, you're going to find programs. FHA is, I'm on the fence on whether I would recommend that to somebody or not. But FHA is usually like 3.5%. A standard owner-occupied loan is 5%. Now, obviously, the twin homes that I paid $155,000 for are now worth $270,000.
It's a great investment.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So, but so if you're talking about a 5% down payment on a $250,000 house, now you're $12,000-15,000 total. You know what I mean? So that's what you got to work towards. And it's tough to do if you've been taking out debt, you've been buying vehicles you shouldn't be buying. You know what I mean? So that's ultimately education's the problem. I mean,
you think that's a big problem?
100%.
Do you think, because we always hear the people, not everybody can afford a home and all that, but do you think a lot of it when it comes to affordable housing is just maybe you should be focusing on educating people over anything else?
It would certainly help, but obviously there's some heavy duty arguments people are going to throw at that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's whatever. But so much of this would be mitigated, especially in high school. Like if you were taught, we take consumer math and stuff like that, but you don't get into the weeds on any of this stuff. You know what I mean? So it's like learning anything about personal finance is important. The fact that you can sign up for $80,000 in student loan debt when you're 18,
nuts,
but you can't have a beer. You know what I mean? Like it's insane. Like you should not be allowing kids to do that. You know what I mean? But then that's just the start of it. You know what I mean? You get introduced to how easy it is to take out money, and then the next thing you do once you get a job is you start renting an apartment that's a little bit more than you can expend. Then you go get a new car that you can't also afford.
And the new fancy
now
phone.
Now you're in big trouble. Now you're really upset that you can't afford a house. Well, it's because you have all these monthly payments that you can't get any traction.
So do you think really in reality, Ty, do you think it's not so much that people can't afford the houses as much as it is you could afford it if you weren't out there putting yourself in debt, and then you go, crying, I can't afford a home. Well, you're sitting on 2 car payments, $100,000 in student loans.
It's a huge part of it. I'm not ignorant and going to say that's the case for everybody.
No,
right?
exactly.
I mean, there's some people, who, whatever it may be, that might be prohibiting you from like working or getting a job that can afford that. But those are
the people that, there should be affordable housing for.
I'd be willing to bet the number of people who, a large number of the people who can't afford like a modest apartment. Even we don't have to talk about getting a house right now, but just being able to afford an apartment. A good majority of them probably have a loan on a vehicle, and they shouldn't. You know what I mean? Like
or they have a loan on a vehicle. Okay, I need a vehicle to get to work, but you didn't have to go buy a $80,000 vehicle. You could have got a used $20,000 vehicle.
Yeah, if you spend the time to do the numbers, it's probably just cheaper for you to take an Uber every day. You know what I mean? Like depending on what you ended up doing. But there's so much to be said about education or the lack thereof, especially for the younger population, and learning a lot about personal finance. It could significantly change everything.
So there's just really you've been graduated for quite a few years now, but I don't know, maybe it's changed. But you're saying when you went, it was like it's just when you get out in the real world, what you're taught there, it's not going to get you through.
Yeah,
when it comes to finances,
I could tell you about the mitochondria being the powerhouse of a cell, but I didn't know anything about taxes.
You could tell me what?
Exactly.
What did you just say?
The mitochondria. It's the powerhouse of the cell.
It's the powerhouse of the cell?
It's biology, right? It's stuff, it's stuff that's not.
I should have my phrase it pays, man.
Yeah, but you don't learn anything about. I mean, like I said, very minimal if you take consumer math, which I would recommend to anybody in high school, but it's just that's an elective. You don't get forced to take consumer math, but even that's not enough.
We were forced to take math.
Well, yeah, you take math, but not. It's called consumer math. Consumer math it's very like some stuff on taxes, some stuff on rent, personal finance stuff, but it's not nearly in enough detail, and it's not required. So the majority of I guess we'd have to look to see how many kids are actually taking consumer math, but it's not nearly enough. Like high school kids should be educated significantly more on this stuff, and it would fix so many issues.
Yeah, because now you're in the real world, and it's like, we were taught this. Kids get out there now. What's like, I don't understand. I got to pay interest on this loan I just took out. It's like, wait a minute.
Yeah, how much are these student loans going to cost me in 8 years?
That is the crazy thing. Student loans. Yeah. The loan debt, and I was not, and I'm still not. I am not in favor for when Biden was trying to we're going to pay off all this debt. No, you took that debt out. I'm not paying your debt. Yeah. You took it out. You should have done your homework. You're going to have to pay it off. But what colleges are charging for these students it's just mind boggling. When you can go to a trade school and be out in 2 years and make, in some cases, 6 figures right out of the chute. And that's why I've always pushed trade school. You went to trade school. I'm not saying there's not a need for college, but what I think is that there's this push, and it's been like this for decades, that if you don't have a college degree, then you will not be successful. Yeah. And that is the biggest bull crap there is.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people out there trying to keep that stigma alive too.
Well, of course they're trying to keep it alive because if that stigma, if that dies and goes away, then they're out money. It all comes back to money. All right, we're gonna get back to the phones here. Ray's been waiting a while. It says Ray's got a question for you, Ty. My son Ty's hanging out with him. What were we talking about? Oh, we're talking about finances. Is that him?
Yeah, financial literacy.
Financial literacy. All right, before we get back to the phone calls, and I should have. You can kill that music. I should have ate that apple earlier. Kill that music, Addison. Let's see. Email says, This is somebody who knows schools. I won't say who it is, but you know who it is.
Yeah.
Ty is correct on schools teaching financial literacy. We passed House Bill 1533, which now requires schools to require financial literacy.
Oh, that's good.
It is a start, and Superintendent Bachmeyer has made it a priority. Ty's a very wise guy. Great show. Appreciate the email.
I'd like to know what the what is it called? What is all a part of that? I guess what is the curriculum of that?
Oh,
like what are they actually learning about now? Like
exactly.
in that study, I guess.
Let's see. Hey, Ray, thanks for hanging on. You're up on the Jay Thomas Show. What's up, buddy?
Oh, no problem. Thank you, Jay. Hey, I did not know this about that VA loan thing about that. I thought you could only borrow one time on your primary residence, but if you at one at a time. I didn't know you could get two homes on one VA loan.
Yeah, you can. So it's based on now I've been out for 6 years now, so I don't keep up with it now, but.
Yeah.
Unless things have changed, but I really don't think they have. But the VA loan is based on like a total amount. So like when I was in, the amount at that time was just over $400,000 is what you could borrow up to 400 and call it like 15,000. However, you have to qualify for that amount. It doesn't just mean you can pull that out or get a house worth that much. I mean, you still go through the the debt to income with the bank, and they verify that you can afford those payments or whatever. But the way that it worked for me was, I bought that duplex, and this is another very important point with the VA loan. So anything 4 units and below is considered residential, not commercial.
Okay.
So you can buy a fourplex with the VA loan. You can buy a triplex, duplex, all that. But anything over 4 turns into commercial, no longer qualifies for that loan. But if you buy, like let's say you bought a twin home, and again, I don't know what the value is now. Let's say it's $500,000. But if you bought a twin home for $240,000, live in it for a year, pay your mortgage. Once you've been in there for a year, you can move out. But the important thing is you have to be able to qualify for another mortgage payment to be able to get the rest of that loan from the bank. But one of the ways that you can do that is provide the bank with a signed lease saying that your previous residence is rented out and is guaranteed income. You know what I mean? So it just wipes that debt off your debt to income. But yes, it's not based on a number of properties. It's based on total loan value.
Okay. Yeah, I understand that. Well, anyway, I'm done with houses now. I've gone through 4 of them, so it doesn't really matter to me. It's just that I did not know. I thought it was just one house, one loan, and then, of course, you could sell and get another loan. Mm-hmm. But one thing I do remember, I was able to finance my closing costs through the VA loan. With the VA loan, you could finance your closing costs and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean the VA loan's great if you have access to it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's good. Well, anyway, I'll tell you one other thing, too. I always used to say, you and my wife and kids, and I said, our house is always for sale. And believe it or not, we were in our third one, and it was pretty good. I mean, they loved it. And somebody stopped by one time and said, hey, is this for sale? And I made an offer that was crazy high. Guess what? They took it.
Yeah.
So you'd be surprised. Sometimes people want something, they'll pay for it. So anyway.
Exactly.
Well, listen, thank you for answering my questions. I appreciate it.
Thanks for listening. Thanks, Ray. Appreciate it. Andy, you're up. Jay Thomas Show.
Guys, you're 100% right. The problem is we're battling the institution, and you guys touched on it a little earlier, that the whole system's built around the funnel, funneling dumb youth into debt and continuing that cycle. I had a 7th grade teacher at Agassiz in Fargo, and he told the class the story about how he financed a ice auger. I'm just going to make it up. It was like $300 or something, he said, and he put it on his credit card.
Oh.
And he said he had to spend $2,000 to pay off that $300. And I will never forget that moment in class, and that's when finances stuck. And so you guys are 100% right, but parents have to take the initiative and educate them, because the foundation in our school systems will not teach them. They are purposely ignoring it and are indoctrinating these kids to get into debt to fuel that system.
Yeah, it's, I went, I don't know how many years, you bring up purchasing something on a credit card. I bet I went 25 5 years without having a credit card. I always paid cash for everything, and then I was finally convinced, get a credit card. You build up your credit, this, that, one. But I always pay my credit card off every month. The bill gets paid off 100% because I take a look at that statement when I get it, and let's say you got $4,000, $3,000 this month on your credit card, and the minimum payment's $75. Well, if you do the math on that, you're going to pay that. It will take you decades to pay that credit card off. So that's the one thing. If you're going to get a credit card, just pay that thing off every month. Don't even leave $5 on it. Wipe it. And I was always told, Andy and Ty, that if you do that, it's going to screw up your credit. No, my credit's in the 800s, man. It has not screwed up my credit one bit.
Even on top of that, guys, people don't realize this air quote cash advance on a credit card.
Oh,
you get people that'll get talked into cash advance on a credit card, but in the fine print, let's say you take $500 cash advance and you're in Vegas and you want to go gamble it, and you have $5,000 on that credit card. That $500 cash advance is the last section of your debt that gets paid off, and that cash advance is actually at a higher rate than the rest of your credit card.
Yeah,
and it's a double whammy.
Yeah, it's like you're borrowing money from the mob. It really is. It is. Andy, appreciate the phone call. Zach, you're up on the Jay Thomas Show. What's up, Zach? Zach, go ahead. I can hear him in the background. All right, I'm going to put Zach on hold. Addison, tell him we're ready for him. Let's see. Jay, great show again. You raised a great young man. I have one too. We are blessed. Yes, we are. Another email. Love the conversation today, guys. I have 2 businesses now and starting a third in a couple of months. I wish I had more training in school on business and personal finance. I would have done this earlier in life. I always tell my kids, you have to get through high school and get a plan. My oldest wants to be an electrician. I remind him, no shame in the trades. Go for it, and you will make big-time money if you work hard. There should be more people in education steering kids to entrepreneurship and the trades instead of 4-year college degrees. The guy is 100% on the money type.
I think it's probably a hot take for a lot of people, but I think one of the wisest things you could do as like an 18-year-old is, especially if you're even remotely uncertain that what you're choosing for a degree is what you want to do, take a year to just work. You know what I mean? And just really think over that decision of if that's truly what you want to do, or if college is truly what you want to do. And I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with that, but I mean, you're going to potentially save yourself tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in student debt and just trying to make up ground.
I'm so glad that Mike Rowe has done what he's done over the years, really pushing the trades, because again, the trades were just looked down off. You're a plumber, or you're a welder. That is great damn money.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's good money, and it's good money now. Another email. Great show again. It's fun to listen to you two. When's the next podcast? Ty is so interesting and intelligent. You're stealing my fan base, Ty. We're going to take part of this show, or not we, but the producers, and they're going to podcast this out for this week's podcast. We usually try to drop them on Monday, or do them on Monday or Tuesdays, and then they drop the next day. And again, you can listen to our Ty and I have a podcast, and it's unfiltered. So I'll just give you a language warning. It's unfiltered, but this is the kind of stuff we talk about. I think from politics to financing to cars, whatever. It's called Just Another Damn Podcast with Jay Thomas and Ty. And what we're doing now is, if you're a member of Flag Family Plus, it's $10 a month. You'll get our podcast plus a bunch of other great stuff, and there's always deals on there if there's events coming to town that we're tied to. But what we're doing with our podcast is we're putting it up on WDAY. I think it's WDAY 970 AM YouTube channel. So you can go on there and watch or listen to the podcast. It stays up there for a while, and then we put it back on Flag Plus. But we're just doing that now to give you folks a chance to check out the podcast. Chuck, you're up on the Jay Thomas Show. You got a question for Ty?
Yes, I do.
Go ahead.
I'm a veteran.
Thank you.
That I own some property, and what are my options for a construction loan? What I've got on my property is an old trailer house, and it's got steps, and I don't want any steps anymore. Where do I look for construction loans through the VA?
Yeah, I think I'm not a mortgage broker, Brian.
Yeah,
just to be clear,
This is Ty's just giving his experience.
But I mean, the very first thing I would do is just go to my bank, whoever you're banking with, and not to throw anybody on the bus, but I'd stick with local banks, local credit unions, whatever. But just let them know that
everybody I've talked to say they don't do VA loans or construction loans.
Yeah, so I think somebody can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I think what has to happen is the only way you can do this is by taking out a normal construction loan, and then it converts to a VA loan after it's built. So you don't really get the big benefit of that VA loan, especially for younger soldiers and stuff when they're first getting out, is it doesn't require a down payment. Like I said, there's a small funding fee or whatever, but the downside of going the construction route is that you probably have to take out a construction loan first, which does entail probably a 20% down payment on the construction loan itself, and then once it's done, you can maybe convert it to a VA loan. But you'd have to talk to a bank on that. I guess I don't want to mislead you. Or
no. What are you doing, Chuck? Going to a ramp on the house?
Well, I've got steps now, and I'm going to be shortly needing a ramp for my dog and I.
Have you? Where do you live? Do you live in Fargo, West Fargo? What town are you in?
In the Lakes area.
Oh, okay. Because I know some towns up here. I don't know how it works, but to upgrade your home, they're giving out loans. But that's here. What I would do, Chuck? I don't know if you've tried this. Have you called the VA and talked to them, the actual VA, like the one here in Fargo or whatever you got in Minnesota?
Yes, I have, and the response has been that I've got to go through private lenders.
Oh, okay.
But there are so very few private lenders that do VA loans.
No.
And
well, Chuck, do this. Chuck, I got to roll here. I'm running out of time. Keep us in the loop, and if you still have problems, reach back out to me. And I don't know, maybe I can make some calls and help you out with that. I can't believe a ramp is really expensive to build.
Well, there's got to be programs out there for accessibility too, especially with the VA. I would think. But
just keep me in a loop, Chuck, please, and we'll see if we can help you out. All right, Addison, let's take caller number 9 right now. We're running out of time. Jay's phrase that pays, caller number 9, 701-293-9000. Caller number 9, if you can recite back today's phrase that pays, word for word, $100. Well, that didn't take long. $100 hard, cold cash. Jay's phrase that pays, presented by Ladies, JD's Barbecue, ATI Diesel. And this week's cash sponsor is Dakota Water Conditioning. Caller 1, caller 2, caller 3, caller 4, caller 5, caller 6, 7. Oh, you're going to hate me. You're caller number 8. Oh. All right. Hey, caller, what's your first name? Dwayne, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good.
Well, your day's about possibly to get better. You're caller number 9, so that's the first hurdle.
All right.
Now the second one is recite me word for word today's phrase that pays.
All right. I just stopped behind a school bus this morning, and none of the kids flipped me off. This generation is so soft.
Yeah, that's it right there. You nailed it, brother. You got $100 hard, cold cash and a bag of salt from Dakota Water Conditioning.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to put you on hold. Addison's going to get some information for you. Just make sure when you come to the station, you get that crisp $100 bill that you got a photo ID with you, brother.
All right. Right on.
All right, hold on. Congratulations to Dwayne. Email, we don't have an affordability crisis. It's a crisis of what kids grew up with. They grew up in a nice house with newer cars, and they have the expectation that they will have those things out of college. There are plenty of nice, maybe outdated homes that are affordable, but it will be beneath them from what they grew up with. I agree with that too, to a point.
It's subjective, yeah. I mean,
because I remember in property management, people called, this dishwasher doesn't work, this stove doesn't work. My parents had, well, yeah, mom and dad had Wolf appliances, okay? It's going to be a little different.
Yeah, I think it could be said the other route too. Like if you grow up, like, whatever, lower income, poor, a lot of people tend to think that's how it is also.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's not a way out of that. So it could go both ways on that. But
another email, hey guys, we need to stop using affordable as a buzzword and start using it as a number. Without a hard dollar amount, it's just a vague term used to move the goalposts and hide the real cost. If you can't define the price, you're just setting folks up with improper expectations. Let's get back to some common sense math. You nailed it, emailer. Nailed it. Let's see. Jay, the guy that has the ex-wife living in his home, for a fee, I could probably take her in as a roommate, but I'll need a picture first. Fee will be based on... Okay, stop it. Wow. Another email. Ty is saying things no soldier ever hears, particularly if they're in the Guard or Reserve. Active duty only gives a soldier or airman this sort of information if they're retiring or separating after lengthy service, when they're more interested in being a military contractor than they are becoming an entrepreneur. A 19-year-old soldier or airman should hear everything your son said this afternoon.
It's the same concept. They lack education there too in certain aspects.
Shame.
But
all right, brother. Thanks for hanging out. What are you doing? You going to purchase some more properties now when you get off there, or what? We're
going to go take care of the gym.
You going to go work on the gym?
Yeah.
Birdies,
yeah.
All right, brother.
Hey, is anybody telling you the phrase isn't hard cold cash? It's cold hard cash.
I'm just reading what they gave me. I'm reading what they gave me.
I've been listening to you say that for like the last week, and I'm like,
oh no, you're telling me now?
Yeah.
You're supposed to be my son. I got 5 seconds. I got to go. Thanks for throwing me under the bus, Ty. Appreciate it. Back tomorrow too.